TV.
What's going on, everybody?
Hey.
We've got the one and only Prison Doctor here today. Prison Doctor, thank you for joining us.
Yes,
Absolutely.
sir.
Thank you guys for having me. It's always an honor with you both.
Yeah. So go ahead and update us. The last time we spoke, it was probably last year when we went live together. What's the latest in your life? What's been going on? I've seen a lot of posts with your page is blown up, 500,000 followers now. What's the latest on your end?
Well, yeah, that's pretty much one of the biggest ones. I'm not this guy that really cares about, followers and likes and all that stuff. I try not to get caught up in that madness, but the reality is I'm very humbled that I literally have over 500,000 people now on Instagram that, finds, favor in what I do. They like the work that they see me post with children. And apparently my content was able to capture over 500,000 people's attention who follow me and see my videos regularly. So I'm very, very excited about that. And I want to thank each and every one of those 5,000 followers that I do have.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yes, sir. That is awesome.
So for anyone who doesn't know about you, what do you do? Tell us a little bit about your page, or tell them a little bit about your page. We know what you do, but tell them a little bit about your page and how you kind of came to this internet fame and just real life fame.
Absolutely. Well, I'm a prison prevention specialist. I work with at-risk youth all over the country. And we've been doing this for over 10 years now. You're talking to a guy that doesn't have a MBA or PhD behind his name. You're talking to a guy who has a GED behind his name. You're talking to a man that had a very, very rough start. I went to prison when I was 19 years old for vehicular armed robbery. I stole a car at gunpoint with some other idiots and wound up going to prison for 25 to 50 years. I didn't serve all that time, but that was my sentence. I come from pretty good stock. My father was a Motown funk brother out of Detroit. I played with Marvin Gaye. The song "What's Going On" and "Let's Get It On." That sax is my father. So I grew up in Motown as a kid with the Dramatics, the Temptations, the Supremes, even the Jacksons. I was a little baby, but I remember all those guys in studios. And so I come from good stock, man, but made some boneheaded decisions as, in my teenage years, and spent down near half my life in prison, and came home, man, to a world that was just foreign. It was just different than what I had went into, before I left it. Came home to something that was just totally, I didn't know what the hell it was, man. I saw kids wearing their pants halfway off their behind. The women were calling themselves B's and H's and responding to that as if that was their names. I'm looking at the music, guys. The music was just transformed to something that I didn't even understand. Artists who are, calling themselves Sexy Red. I don't even call it Dirty Red is what I call her. And, went to instant fame, literally millions of little girls admiring this person. I don't know what the hell she is, because the way she raps and the things she talks about is not of a woman, not the kind I know anyway. So, but those are the things I came home faced with, guys, and I wanted to do something about it. So I started this 501c3, called it Prison Doc Inc., and it just caught fire, man. And God put it on the map, and we're making a lot of headway. But I'm gonna take a break there because I know you guys have 1,000 questions for me.
Well, one of the ones I knew that you had been to prison, but when did you go in? When did you come out? Because what you said about it was just a foreign world, that's interesting to me. And I didn't, I guess, connect the dots there before. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I went in at 19 years old. I went in 1989. Just had some trouble as a teenager. You know what I mean? Just run-ins with the law. Never nothing hideous. Never, killed anybody or, nobody raped any woman. You hear this, none of that. I've never done anything that's, hideous. The only thing I did was, I stole a car. I stole a Elite, a scooter, just a bad little kid trying to impress the fellas and trying to impress the girls. I was a, handsome younger guy with the Jerry curls, Prince looking cat, back in the day, and got beside myself, man, trying to impress people, and became a follower when I should have been a leader. I had schemes from my family as leaders, all my brothers, and for the most part, my dad were very prominent people and leaders in their own right. And, I fell off the wrong end, and I became a follower, as a teenager. I had got my black belt when I was 18 years old before I went to prison.
Wow.
Helped me not have a lot of the problems that a light-skinned Jerry curl guy going into prison back in those days would have had. I knew how to fight and still do very well. And so that, protected me from having a lot of those issues in prison, man. But yeah, I spent quite a while in prison and saw things that would make your stomach hurl. And that's why I'm so passionate about preventing our teenagers and our children from going to that place that I spent 20 years in.
So it's that will to just, you see, like you explained earlier, you see what's going on, you get out, you see the change in the culture, you see how the kids are acting, how they're dressing, the type of music they're listening to, what type of influences they have. And so that drive for you not wanting to see them go down that same path, that's what's driving you to do the work that you're doing today.
Nothing else. Nothing else. Not money, not power, not prestige, not your likes on Instagram, not your follows on TikTok, not your shout outs, nothing. I do this because it needs to be done, and no one else is doing it on this level. No one else is walking into these kids' homes to help these single moms who are struggling with their children and have no resources and have exhausted all their resources. And they feel like they're being held hostage in their home. I hear these stories every day. Every day, my phone is ringing from multiple women, particularly single women who have no help with their out of control children. So my passion is from something deeper than money and follows and likes on Instagram. It's much deeper.
So when you got out, how weird was it that things were different? Like, did you think at first what was the first thing you noticed that you said, what's going on here? Or were you like at first when you saw someone with their pants down or something like that, were you like, that kid's weird? Then you saw another one. Then you see another one. Was it like a Twilight Zone type thing, or was it just like what was that like? And had you heard any rumors about it behind bars?
That's why you guys are very good at what you do. That is a great question to get to the root of it. I came home and I noticed there were more fatherless homes than I've ever seen in my life. There were more children being raised by women without a father in the home. That was the first thing that I noticed, is where were the men? Where were the men? Even on the side of my family and some of my cousins that I was going over to their houses, dad's not there. Some of the neighbors I would go to see some of the old neighborhoods I lived in. I would go there. Where are the men? I'm not seeing any men. On the porch, you see kids playing. You see 20 kids in the front yard playing, and you see mom on the porch. Where's the men? Where's dad? I noticed there was no fathers. Then you couple that with you watching these young men smoking vapes, smoking weed, walking around with their pants sagging and walking around with bags like purses. You understand? So I'm a man coming out of prison, you understand? And I'm watching young teenagers with their pants sagging, walking around with purses. That was alarming. You understand? Because I did not expect to come home to a society that looked like prison. That's the word I came home to with these kids. These kids were living lives like they were in prison.
What do you think contributed to the rise of single mothers?
Well, that's many answers can go to that, right? I think one is some of the laws. We can take it back to the welfare thing. We can go back there to the 70s and 80s. You know what I mean? Where women were told that they couldn't have, if the father or the man was in the home, they would be cut off from certain, benefits and things like that, which kind of pushed the man. So this thing can, from back then.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about something that's more relatable to your audience that's watching, a lot of it is just that men are weak. Men are weak. Men have become very selfish, and everything is about pleasure. Everything is about partying and smoking and having a good time and just pleasure. You know what I mean? Men are not men today. Now, if you want to go even deeper than that, what's happening with our homes today is a lack of spirituality. A lack of spirituality is another huge component that is destroying our homes today, destroying our children, is that they have no concept of God. In fact, they're even mocking God. A lot of our music today and these rappers are literally mocking God through videos. And our children now have put God as some kind of fairy tale fake stuff. They don't even believe in God no more. So these are some of the problems, the prevalent problems that is plaguing our communities today.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think that's pointing at the main issue behind a lot of these things is the lack of spirituality, right? The lack of the relationship with God. Because I heard somebody say recently, if you remove religion, you remove an objective truth from a God that created a moral structure, an objective moral truth, right? What you end up getting is just everyone follows their own personal preferences.
Right.
And then when they follow their personal preferences, how can you justify or say anything is right, anything is wrong? You can't. And then so what ends up becoming the law of the land is do what thou wilt. You know, what's interesting is the number one command in the Satanic Bible is not love your heart, love the devil with all your heart, soul, and mind, like it is in the Bible. You know, the Bible, the number one command is love your God with all your heart, mind, and soul, with all your strength. Right? The number one command in the Satanic Bible is do what thou wilt. Do what you want to do. And we see that the first command that God created, the first couple, Adam and Eve, telling them be fruitful and multiply, create families, the thing that God has used as an illustration between his relationship with the church, marriage, is being attacked with that command of do what thou wilt. So I agree with you 100%.
I'm sorry, Zach. Thus you have people walking around saying they're unicorns. Thus you have men walking around saying that they're women.
Yep.
Thus you have women walking around saying that they identify as a man. Thus you have children walking around saying they identify as dogs, cats, and cows. You understand? Right. It's because when you take away the perimeters of how far the boundaries of what God says you do and don't do, it is exactly like you just said, Zach. You are a boundless society. You are a free fall society. And whatever the hell you want to do, you very well would do that. And that's not how God has set this thing up. God is the author, period. God created you. And if you don't believe that, then you're going to live a society like we're living today where people are calling themselves all these damn pronouns. You understand? The reality is that everything has a manual. Everything has a way to live, and it has a manual on how to operate, right? So we know that God is our creator, and God gave us a manual in order how to live our lives. We call it the Bible. Some people call it the Quran. I don't know, whatever you find. The cars have manuals. When you go in your glove box, when you buy a car, it has a manual. It tells you how to make the car operate appropriately, right? It tells you you don't put sugar in the gas tank. You put what in the gas tank? Gas. You don't put water in the gas tank. It tells you you must put oil in your car in order for it to run efficiently, right? That's the manual. So everything that's created has an operational manual. We were created by our creator called God. That's one of the names we have for him. You want to call him Allah, Buddha, whatever you want to call him, fine. But we all have manuals. And why we are failing in society and our children are failing is because we don't follow the damn manual.
There's a lack of objective truth. You know, when you just, like you said, when you get away from objective truth, you just get into subjectivity. Well, to me, it feels right. For me, I feel like a dog. Today, I feel like a cat, whatever. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I think that now personally, obviously, like we believe in the Bible, that the Bible is the objective word of God, you know, but I get what your point is. Your point is the fact that when you remove religion from a society, it's a problem. It doesn't help. And that's what we're seeing today. And go ahead, C-Love.
I was going to say, of course, like the more removed God is from the society, the more chaotic the environment is, right? I can see the same thing in my own life. The further I'm getting away from God, I'm not reading my Bible, I'm not praying, the more chaotic my life begins to get. You can see that on a personal level, right? Not even on a societal level. You can see that on a personal level.
Facts.
I mean, I don't know if you guys experienced that, but I know it happens for me.
No, it's absolutely fact. And society is designed to remove you further and further from God. That is, the society has been trying to remove Christ out of our lives, been trying to remove God out of our lives. Hell, they even trying to take, Santa Claus has replaced Jesus Day. Santa Claus has replaced, the supposed birth of Christ, which was not December 25th. That's a whole nother conversation. Right. But we don't even say Christ Mass no more. We say X-Mass. So
not me.
We don't even say, we don't say Christ Mass no more Christmas. We say X-Mass. So you just cross Christ out.
Cross them out.
Santa Claus is more worshiped and celebrated on Jesus Day than Jesus himself. Make that make sense.
And you know what's crazy? This is a little bit of off topic, but Saint Nicholas, Saint Nicholas, he was a believer. He actually followed Christ, and he smacked a guy for this. There was a guy that claimed, I think his name was Irenaeus maybe, or Nestorius. It was some cult that was starting up early that was saying Jesus is not divine. Jesus isn't really. He went up and smacked the guy. That was real Saint Nicholas. Now, this person we've created today, who is like this happy-go-lucky, anything goes type of guy, is not accurate. And speaking of which, we had a conversation the other week about like tough love, and how tough love to the world many times seems like, oh, you're just being mean. You just want to hurt people. You don't really care about how they are. But you just expressed how the thing that causes you, for anyone that hasn't seen your page, some would say you're very tough on some of the children. But the reason you are is because you're passionate about them not ending up where you ended up, right? And so explain what you've come across when it comes to when you got started, or even now. Do you face any criticism of people that are like, you're a little too mean, you need to be a little more nice to the children? That's not going to work. Do you come across that at all?
Man, you are a true professional, Zach.
Zach, he's good. Yeah, he's good.
Zach has all the Walter Cronkite, he nails it. So that's a great question. Let me answer it like this, right? Let me answer it like this. We have, and this is not me bragging. I promise you, I don't care. This is not that. I'm giving you the truth. We have over 85% success rate in over 10 years. We have an over 85% success rate with at-risk youth, or troubled children, however you want to define it, right? Children that have been seeing therapists for years, mothers who have exhausted all their resources to get their child helped, who is whooping their behinds, and they have got no help. These are children that I deal with in most cases, not all, but in most cases, these are very, very violent children, very out of control, disrespectful children who are literally spitting in their mother's face and calling their mothers bitchs and telling them, if you don't do what I say, I'll call CPS on you and make you lose your job and get you arrested. I'm dealing with children who are pissing in hand sanitizers, you understand, to get back at their parents. I'm dealing with children who are pulling guns on their mothers and saying, bitch, I'll blow your brains out. You don't tell me what to do up in here. I'm the man of the house. Now, can you imagine that? See, for the critics who, say that I'm too harsh, well, I would beg to differ that mom would feel that way. I would beg to differ that the mother would have a problem with my approach in coming to her home when she's exhausted all her resources and no one is helping her from getting abused by her 13-year-old child. And she has no uncles or no brothers or the police been called. The police ain't helping. The mother's trying to get the child to go to therapy, but the child is telling the mother, hell, I'm not going to therapy. So how's the mother going to get the child to therapy to get help if the child is beating the mother's behind and telling the mother, no, I'm not going to therapy. What you going to do? You can't make me. And the mother's scared of her child. What is that mom going to do? So for those who think that the prison doctor is too harsh on those types of children, because those are the type of children that I deal with mostly. And today, those children are not acting that way. In a lot of those cases, those children are very much transformed. I'm dealing with children that are doing things, guys, that the world don't want to know. They don't want to talk about it. It's too painful to talk about it because they have no solutions. You understand? Wow. So those who criticize are oftentimes the people who are not going into these homes and not would even dare go into some of the homes I go into. I go into gang members' homes in South Central LA. You guys know that. You've seen my videos. I'm dealing with kids who are in gangs in South Central LA or here in Atlanta. You understand? Mm-hmm. That are some serious subjects. And I'm helping these kids transform their lives from the behavior that they're doing. So for those who criticize, it's only because they are not doing it and they won't do it. Right. That's why they criticize. So what we call that in today's language is hater. Haters. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because the ones who need my help, those parents who are getting rescued, they applaud me. They thank me. Right. And even the kids eventually thank me. They send me letters all the time, or they'll send me a text saying, hey, prison doc, you know, it was a rough start, but I'm so glad that you helped me because I see I was going down the wrong path now. I see that I could be better than what I was, man. And I thank you for helping me. See, so kind of the ones that make me smile like that.
Yeah. It's kind of like the guy that's watching football on TV. He's 400 pounds sitting on the couch with a beer, and he's like, oh, he should have ran it this way. I would have done it this way. You know, it's like, what are you talking about?
And it's also interesting you say that the kids eventually they thank you, right?
You do.
You're tough on them, you're hard on them, and they come back and they say, prison doctor, thank you for what you did. You helped turn me around. It's interesting because kids do love discipline and they love structure. Yes. You might not think they do because they might complain, they might resist, but they actually do love it, right? And I see that working in the classroom. The teachers that have the most structure, discipline, hey, we do things this way, I'm not going to let you slide. Those are the teachers they actually end up liking, right?
That's
right. Compared to the teacher that just lets everything happen.
That's right. Isn't it interesting? You know, that's what men used to do. Men used to be the face of discipline and structure. That was part of their makeup as men. Mm-hmm. That's why our men today have become so weak, is that they don't even know how to give discipline and proper structure. They don't know how to do that. They don't know how to give proper discipline and structure to our children. You know why? Because most of our men in today's society don't have discipline and structure. That's why most of our men today are not married today. Most of our men today can't hold a job for more than 90 days because of a lack of discipline. They can't run a household. They can't write a check or balance a bank book. You understand? They don't know how to pay bills or because they don't have structure and discipline. That's why they can be with multiple women and idolize, all this very sexualized society that tells you that you're not a man unless you have multiple women, unless you have multiple sex partners. See, that's not really a man. You understand? That's an undisciplined, unstructured individual. And at the core of our children, they know that and they don't respect that.
Right. And you know what's interesting is you notice that because you are a man, you know what it takes to build a man. And today, actually, before we got on here, I was talking to my wife. She was with our son, and he was in the bathroom, and she was like, he said to her, "I want to take a bath," and she said, "Son, you already took a bath. It's time to go." He said, "I want to take another bath." She said, "No, we're not going to take a bath. You already took a bath." And then 2 minutes later, I hear the water running, and I go in there, and I see her turning the water on for him. And I said, "What are you doing? You told him no. You have to stick to that."
That's right.
You know, and then and I think that I don't think it's not necessarily her fault. Women are designed different than men. Men are designed different than women. Their natural tendency, the way they're designed, is the baby's crying, I've got to feed the baby. That's the way that the baby survives, is the mom takes care of their needs right then. But if a guy is not in the picture to step in and make that separation sometimes, like then the child grows up, a boy grows up and remains a boy and does all those things you're talking about. Absolutely. And so let me ask you this. Is a lot of the criticism that you get, is it more male, female leaning, or is it like 50-50 people that are critical about your style? Because I could understand why maybe women may not understand it, and in good intention they may say, hey, that's bad, because they don't understand what it may take to be a man. But is it 50-50? Is it mostly women? Is it mostly men, or what?
No comparison. Men, hands down, are the haters.
Wow.
What?
Wasn't expecting that.
I don't, yeah, it's men. I don't read a lot of my posts or comments. I don't even do it. I have a team now. I have a staff. Your boy kind of blew up a little bit. So I have a staff, and they actually read some of the stuff, and they'll tell me and report back to me about a lot of stuff. And they'll show me some of the comments, if they think it's something, But I would say at least 70% of the negative comments that I get and the haters are from men. But what I noticed on social media, let me say this though. Let me make this perfectly clear. When they do the research, they find out that a lot of these are fake accounts, or they're zero posts.
Okay.
It'd be the person saying something there. He don't have no picture of himself and no accurate information about how to find him or where he lives.
Yeah.
It'd be something. So it's haters. A lot of these guys is doing that as somebody who just hates the prison doctor. I got this one guy. I can't even remember his name. He's so unimportant. But this guy has been stalking me. I want to call my staff and ask him what's this guy's name in his page. But this guy has literally been stalking me for 2 years and only had one phone call conversation with me. He got mad because he made a comment on my post apparently, and I blocked him because the comment was so nasty and ridiculous. I blocked him. This guy has been calling me almost every day for 2 years straight on my finish line. His number pops up. We got to block it. Somehow he gets it unblocked. He calls him a different number. What is this guy? Okay. He has a YouTube channel. He's such an unimportant guy. But I don't know if this guy is like got a thing for me or something. I don't know. I don't know. It's a little weird. I don't even know how to explain it.
That's crazy.
I don't know how to explain it. I'm going to be so unprofessional in this moment because I really don't know this guy's YouTube. Hey, honey. Honey.
Yeah, we need to find out who this is.
What is that guy's page who's been stalking me for the past 2 years? Do you remember his YouTube? You don't? Okay. If you happen to find it, let me know, because I would like these brothers to know. I'm sorry. I had to break protocol. But yeah, and it's really weird because, it's the guys, man. And I think it comes from, because a lot of the women actually celebrate me, right? And guys just say some crazy stuff, man. I don't even understand it. Like, why are you yelling at the kid? And, who are you to be yelling at the kid? It's a 60-second clip, bro. Calm down. It's a whole 2-hour intervention. It's a 60-second
Really?
clip.
You would think they'd be able to understand.
Yeah, common sense. Then I get comments like, did you hug him? Maybe you should hug the child and let him speak and hear him out. It's a 60-second clip from a 2-hour intervention. What would make you think in your right mind that maybe I didn't sit down and say, hey, little Johnny, what's wrong? What's making your behavior go this way? And maybe give him a hug and at the end or something. But these people, like, I guess, they say this is just trolls, people who just go on there to be heard and be seen.
People.
So
I mean, even if you are yelling, who's to say that child in that moment didn't need that?
I would think a child who pistol whips his mother and pulls a gun on her is worthy of some high tone pitches in the voice. I would think so.
At least.
At least. Yeah.
At least. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, I deal with some very, very crazy stuff, but I get more love than hate though, and I thank God for that. Person saw me today in South Carolina, some construction workers, and hey, are you the prison doctor? And wanted to take a picture with me and all his friends, and so I get a lot of love. A lot of the ladies out there are recognizing who I am, and I get a lot of that. I sign autographs sometimes.
Man.
So it's cool. But I don't want nobody to get it twisted. I'm not a damn entertainer. I don't do this stuff for autographs and for you to pat me on the back and and all that. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, but don't get me confused with those other people who's like that. That don't move me. I'm on a mission. And when you're mission driven, your mission and your praise comes from God, and you fulfilling your purpose. Mm-hmm. That is your praise. That is your reward. My reward don't come from man. It don't come from TikTok or Instagram. It comes from God and fulfilling my purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Well, I will say some of those accounts, they are just computer generated things. Now, this guy, obviously, it sounds like you said you spoke to him on the phone. That makes sense because I have my other phone, my work phone, and I was like, because I'm streaming from this phone, and I was like, let me send him the text through here. And I tried to call, and I was like, man, why is he not picking up? I mean, I was like, maybe he thinks I'm that guy. Now it all makes sense. He's like, oh, I don't have time to talk to him today, you know. But that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah,
we'll have to try to get him on here. Hey, so you've never seen his face? It's one of those like faceless.
Yeah, guys. No. Me and my team went on his YouTube page. He ain't got a lot of followers, and this guy, he literally he hates me for no reason. He'll say the prison doctor faking. Yeah, and he even lies and say he has conversations with me, like he's had several. Yeah, I've talked to the prison doctor, and you know, and he's just jealous of me, and the prison doctor wants to be me. I mean, just is this off the wall, but his page is based upon confusion. On one of his posts, it says something like he gets paid to start arguments and false narratives of something. But I think it's bigger than that with this guy. I think he has a crush on me, and I'm not too fond of that. I have a problem with that. So if my wife sees him, I think she want to beat him down. You know, so
That's
he got a thing for me. I don't know.
Wow, that's crazy.
You might want to stay away from him.
Well, speaking of tough love and just kind of how bad some of these situations can get, got a video that we've got a couple videos we want to get your reaction to just see your thoughts. Oh, here's a good one. All right. How would you respond, or how would you tell someone to respond to this? You know what? Let's just break this video down on what's going on, what's happening. Is anyone in the right? Is anyone in the wrong? We'll talk about it right here.
Shut up to me. Did you just listen to spit on me just now?
Yes. Are you out of your freaking mind?
Do that. Do that. I'm gonna hurt her. Do that. This bitch.
Oh, hold on. That's the short version. Let me find the long version real quick.
Yeah, because I can give you an answer to that one too. But go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, let me try to find the long. But while you guys are while I'm looking for that, go ahead and tell me what do you think about it so far?
Yeah, well, again, spitting on someone is one of the highest forms of disrespect, particularly to spit on your parent, particularly to spit on your father.
One thing, just to give you some context to that video specifically.
Yeah,
that child, he's the stepfather.
He's the stepfather?
Yeah.
Okay, let me reverse. So it is very disrespectful to spit on somebody, particularly your stepfather. Let me go there. Yeah. So in that case, and I'm gonna tell you, in that case, the mother has to handle that, right? Mm-hmm. Because sometimes, I don't know the full dynamics if the biological father is still in the child's life, right? Because you got to be careful with that stuff when you're talking about step parents or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. If the roles were reversed, it'd be a little bit different, okay? But if you're talking about a step, father, you got to be careful with that because men are different about their kids. So I don't know that dynamic. I can't really go there on that. But in that case, me assuming that the father is in that child's life and or whatever, the mother would be the forefront of that situation, and she would have every right to handle that in the way that a parent should handle somebody spitting on their stepfather. And I'm
getting this full video. We got to see the full video here. We got to see the full one. Okay, here we go. Okay, we got it. Video file. Boom. Was that it? Make sure this one. Yeah, here we go.
Shut up to me. Did you just?
Here we go. So she said shut up to him, and then he's like, "Did you just say shut up to me?"
Did you just say shut up to me? Did you just listen to spit on me just now?
Yes. Are you out of your freaking mind?
Do that. I'm gonna hurt her. Do that. This bitch.
the whole summer, kid. Grounded. You don't do that. You want me to spit in your face? No. Do you feel it's okay to disrespect your father like that? Garnet, are you looking at me? I'm not joking with you. You hear me? Are you out of your freaking mind? I am disappointed in you because we don't treat each other like that. You think that's okay?
Yo, get her. I got it. She's been my face, not
You
yours.
should not be dealing with it under anger. Hold on, because we're screaming everywhere.
Grab your son, though.
I'm gonna grab it.
She's been my face, not yours.
I understand, but you need to calm down before you hit her.
You spit my face?
Sit down.
Okay. Let's hear your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, very, very, very simple. Very, very simple. Underneath that is something stronger, right? Because that child didn't just spit on her stepfather's, in his face like that and then say, shut up. So there's a lot behind that we don't know, but there's always an underneath factor to that. You know what I mean? It's something deeper that was going on to lead that child to do such a horrible thing to her stepfather and to her mother, right? That didn't just come out the blue. So again, that's why we have to be careful when we're looking at snippets and 60-second clips of things and then making comments that makes a fool of yourself, right? Because there's something very much deeper than what we just saw, right? Children just don't come out spitting in a stepfather's face and then telling them to shut up and, telling them to curse the mother out. And that didn't just come out the blue, right? So that's why we have to find out what's underneath that. Now, on the surface of that, though, just on the action itself, absolutely, there needed to be repercussions and discipline, right? But we would have to find out underneath that so it won't happen again, because you're not going to stop that problem just by whooping the child in and of itself. Whooping a child for spitting in somebody's face is not going to solve the issue. It will give you a temporary fix of the situation, if you know what I mean, where the child may not do it no more that night. But come next week, the child may very well do it again if we don't get underneath really what caused her to do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So what are some of the common factors that you see that cause people children to act out that way?
Absolutely. Well, a lot of it is media. A lot of it is friends at school, what they're seeing in school, what's going in their ear gate and, and what's going in their eye gate, what they're hearing and what they're watching, which is why one of my main drives is this music. You understand? This music is destroying our children. And until people wake up and understand that and stop justifying it, saying, well, you can't blame the artists. The artists aren't raising your children. That's the parents' job to raise children. Well, that's true. But what about a child who does not have proper parents raising them? What about a child that doesn't have a mommy and a daddy in the home? What about them, the millions of children who are being raised by moms or dads, or children that don't have moms or dads, or children that have mom and dad, but both of them are idiots? What about them? So as an adult and a responsible person who cares about children instead of self first, that's why it becomes the music's problem. That's why it becomes the artist's responsibility. Because if you know that you're affecting a child negatively, even if it's one child, then you should have enough respect for that child and to be an adult and say, you know what, maybe I should curb my lyrics. Or at the very least, let me do it another kind. Let me figure something out that's not going to affect children. You understand? Because children are going to sneak out and listen to music. We did. Yeah. We were listening to Parliament Funkadelic and stuff back in the 80s that was talking crazy stuff too. Not as crazy as today's music, but we were able to see things and hear things because we were just going against what our parents said do. We were curious. So when a child is curious, they're going to find a way to see and hear what they want to hear and see. So it becomes an artist's responsibility to say, you know what? Let me not secure the bag. Let me not put the bag on securing the bag. Let me work more on securing children's future. And that's the problem, is that artists have become so consumed and everybody's so consumed with securing the bag, making money, materialism, taking care of themselves and jury, which they have an exceeding amount of, because anytime you see, and you can't run that on me. I got to get paid. I got to feed my family. Well, hell, how much money does it take for you to feed your family at the cost of children? Because you're walking around with $100,000 necklace. You're bragging about your pinky ring costing $10,000. You're driving 5 cars in Bentleys. You're dressing like a damn pimp. How much money do you need to make for you say, you know what? Okay, I secured the bag. let me now try to be more positive because I don't want to destroy any more children that I've already done.
Right.
You understand? So don't run that game on me, bro.
So what do you say to people who say things like, and I'm sure you probably heard this argument, well, they're just talking about the culture they came up in. So you can't blame the artist. He's just speaking about the only thing he knows.
To talk about it and glorify it is two different things. To talk about something in a proper setting, in a proper forum, with a proper audience is one thing. But to glorify it and then to put it out on mass media, not caring who hears it, in fact, wanting everybody to hear it, is a totally different thing than talking about something that you've experienced it in the right setting with the right people at the right time.
Man, that's a good point.
To even go back to your point about music, I'm 32, right? But even I grew up in a time where the accessibility wasn't as easy as it is today. So like I remember growing up and listening to Lil Wayne, and he had a record that was very explicit. And my mom heard me listening to it, and I told her, like, I really want to listen to this CD. I really want to buy it. She went and she bought it for me, but she made sure it was the kind that was no cuss words. Everything was blanked out, so I wasn't hearing that type of stuff. But it seems like today, with technology, it's much more easier for children to have access to the explicit things. Because if you grab a cell phone, you get on Instagram, YouTube, anything, the internet, you have access to virtually any and everything. So do you think that today, parents, is it more of a challenge for them to get a hold on that type of stuff? Or do you think it isn't? What do you think about that?
Right. What I know is that our children are under attack by Satan.
Mm-hmm.
What I can tell you beyond a shadow of a doubt, that our children are under attack. There's no way in the world that you can allow our children to have so much free access, easy access to pornography, to illicit music, to illicit content, to illicit videos, to illicit programmings on TV, on BET also, which is supposed to be, ironically, Black entertainment television, right? It's supposed to be the first, Black-owned television. And it's one of the worst damn networks ever made. You understand? That are targeting our children, where our children are led to believe that cross-dressing like a damn woman and you're a man is okay, Medea. Like it's okay to highlight videos where our women are on hands and knees and shaking their behind with BITCH lit up on the stage while they're gyrating their behinds like a dog. And our children are being also targeted towards looking at that kind of crap. There's no way that we can have video games that is so raunchy and so violent, and you know it to be violent, but yet you have the damn age range on there of what's acceptable age for a child to watch is like 9 years old, 8 years old, 7 years old. And you got GTA and all these weird ass games on here for our children to watch. You understand? This stuff is not a mystery what's going on. It's actually obvious. It's no mystery when you have transsexuals now being told that they can go into schools and teach about transgenderism, you understand, and teaching our children when you're confusing our children, and nobody bats an eyebrow to this crap. It's not a wonder when it's okay, when they're telling us it's okay for a man that's dressing like a woman should be allowed to go into a bathroom where your little 5 or 6 year old little daughter just went in to take a bathroom, going there to potty. And we're supposed to be okay with a cross-dresser also being allowed to use that same bathroom. It's not a mystery when you're being told that men can play in women's sports. It's not a mystery when men can be in the same ring as a female boxer, and you're okay with that as a society, as a culture, as a government. And the damn male boxer knocked her ass out, knocked her head across the damn ring, and you're okay with that. And that fact, you advocate that you should be okay with that. You advocate that. This stuff is not a mystery. It's not a mystery. It's not design.
Right. So let me ask you this. You spoke about BET. You spoke about
sure did.
This issue right here, right? Man, we could talk about this for hours. But it's just interesting to me how, back in the Jim Crow era, there was blackface, right? There was white actor painting his face black and then putting all these terrible characteristics on black people, right? So a white guy sees it, or and thinks, "Oh, I've never really been around black people. I guess that's what they act like," right? And then now, when that guy comes across a black person, he's going to just stereotype them and say, "Oh, this is what they're like." And then but now we've gotten to a point where the black culture, we're saying, "Hey, this is us." You look at, like you said, Medea, right? Tyler Perry's made a ton of money off of saying, "I'm going to stereotype this black lady and basically make her the most obnoxious, loud, just rowdy person in the room." And we'll watch it and be like, "That's funny. That's hilarious. It reminds me of so-and-so." And then when a white person sees it, and then they say, "Oh, well, I'm going to assume that that's how black people are," then people want to get mad and say, "Oh, that's racist." But you're watching it and you're saying that's what so-and-so is like. And then when you see it, you think it's acceptable for you to act that way. And so we're going to shift into politics just a little bit
Can I tell you, Zach, before
yeah, go ahead.
See, it would be okay if it was a healthy balance of both. If it was a healthy balance of more educational shows that was depicting black people in a positive light, you know what I mean? Where you were seeing more positive shows about African Americans, our culture, our heritage, where we're from, the greatness about us, our discoveries and our inventions, our passions, the things we contributed to America and to the world. It would be different if some of that was being shown in balance and in harmony with a little bit of entertainment, with a little bit of buffoonery. You understand? It wouldn't be so bad. It wouldn't be so bad. It wouldn't be so bad. The problem is that we are having an onslaught of bad imagery, of negative imagery, of bad lyrics, of bad depictions of our people. See, that's where it's wrong, because our children don't have time to process. If all I'm showing is one narrative of something, and it's a bad narrative, and I'm not counter fighting it with something positive, what do you expect to produce from a fertile mind? Right. What do you expect to produce from our children? Now, you as an adult, maybe you can withstand that. Maybe you can be and listen to BET and foolery and entertainment and laugh, ha ha, he he. Maybe you can withstand that. See, my fight is not with that. My fight is for the children.
For the children, yeah.
You're negatively affecting our children. And right now, black people are being portrayed all across the world as ignorant, entertaining buffoons. That's all we're good at, is bouncing the ball, shooting it through a hoop, and throwing a damn football, singing and dancing, and shaking our ass. That's what black people are known for. We're not known to be great engineers and contributors to society. We're not being known to be great dads and great mothers. We're being seen as people who abandon our children, you understand, and rap and shake our ass and then throw money around like damn fools. That's what we're being depicted.
And okay, so it's interesting. A minute ago, I was saying, okay, let's bring in some politics here. You said nothing's off the table. Let's talk about this, right? So when we look at there's two choices. You can say, oh, I want to be in the middle. You're going to vote for one or the other, most likely. And if you don't, it doesn't really matter. But pretty much the country is split down the middle. There's Republican, there's Democrat. And, we talked about this off stage. None of us are really either. But when certain things happen, you're like, why is this going on right now? And if the other side were to do this, we'd say, well, why is this going on right now? What did you think about the 2024 campaign election and everything when you saw whenever the black there was a black city inner city campaign from one of the parties, and it was Cardi B, it was sexy whoever, it was Meg Thee Stallion, and it was, we're going to talk to you about politics that are supposed to be very important, but we're going to get the entertainers that talk about the craziest stuff in the worst lyrics, and we're going to get them to tell you who to vote for. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
Right. So let me say this. I don't know who voted Cardi B and Dirty Red, Megan Thee Stallion to be national representatives of Black people. I don't know who voted them to be that, because they're not for me.
I'd say it was the campaign manager that led that specific campaign. Yeah.
There it is then, Zach, because that's not who represents me. You understand? Right. Or my family. These are rappers who are rapping about some of the most disgusting stuff, and doing it in a very unarticulate way. They're doing it in a very non-cool way. Let's just put it that way. You know, anytime, again, I have no problem with self-expression. I have no problem with, you know, what you do in your bedroom. You know, if you want to swing across a lantern and, you know, flip upside down for your, you know, that's what you do in your home. If you want to operate like that, I really don't have a problem with that. The problem I have with that's country music, rap music, jazz music, contemporary, whatever it is. The problem I have is that when you think that it's okay to sing about things or rap about things, right, that is so raunchy and is so overrated and just sexualized, and you don't have no barriers or boundaries on who may hear it, right? And nor do you care. I have a problem with that, right? So for that other party, and I'm not a party guy. I'm just being very honest. My personal, beliefs, I'm not going to share on this as far as how I personally believe, because that's not the topic of this subject, nor does that move my agenda of saving children. You understand? Right. My political affiliation does not move the needle, you know, one way or another when it comes to my mission. And my mission is on the children. You understand? But I will say this, is that anytime someone thinks it's okay to bring on stage, right, talking about pop your coochie and shaking their behinds and not caring about the grandfathers. Let's say the children wasn't in the audience. But what about my great-grandmother who is 90 years old, or my grandfather, you know, who went through civil rights and fought for, you know, women's rights and respect and just decency and being, you know, looked at a certain way. You know what I mean? What about them? You know, am I putting on a show in front of elderly people that is inappropriate, that would turn them off? You see what I'm saying? So again, it always goes about people not caring about the whole of people. It's like everybody just wants to push their agenda, and those who fall by the wayside and get caught up in it or maybe damaged by what they see and hear, people not caring about that, man. Everybody's just for self. You know, as long as I get what I want out of it and I reach the audience I want, I give a damn about what child I hurt or what grandparent I offend. That's not what's important. So any party that thinks like that, I don't have good to say about it.
At the end of the day, you want what's best for the children. And you mentioned so you met the President of the United States.
I did.
What was that like?
I met Donald Trump in Jupiter, Florida, a few months back, and actually had a conversation with him.
Well, so how did the meeting happen? How did you get in touch with the President of the United States?
Well, it came through a young lady named Michaela, I believe. Michaela. Remember the young lady that did the thing at Chick-fil-A? The black girl, she was all over the news. I don't know if y'all seen it. She was a well-spoken young lady. Her name is Michaela. Okay. She was one of the campaign people who met Trump, and Trump brought her aboard because she spoke so well, you know, about, you know, things that was plaguing our communities. And so he brought her aboard. So anyway, she's here in Atlanta, and my team reached out to her because we were trying to throw an event for children. And she made a connection with some of Trump's people, and we wound up getting invited. So we wound up going to Jupiter, Florida, and having a conversation with Trump. And Trump respects the work that I do. He had knew about it, and his staff embraced us. When Trump says get all his information and follow up with him, I think that was like I guess an order in a way from Trump and his staff. Like, you know, get with him and make sure we have all his information so we can see exactly what he's doing and what he's about. And they have treated me like gold ever since. And I'm not exaggerating. We get invited. Really? Yeah, we get invited to every event darn near Mar-a-Lago. We got invited. Yeah, we got invited. We went to the inauguration. We was invited. Didn't pay a dime.
Didn't show up. Didn't show up.
On the air. So people don't think didn't pay a dime. And these were like $30,000, $40,000.
You're not chasing him down.
I didn't.
They're asking you to come.
listen, the prison doctor don't chase anybody. I don't give a damn who you are. Trump, I don't. That don't move me. I'm not impressed with that. And I'm not being funny. I'm just being honest. I respect people's position, and they, when you're doing righteousness and you're helping people, I respect you more. But if you're a president that's a jerky president that's harming people, you don't get my respect. I don't give a damn about you. But no, I was invited. Me and my team was invited to the inauguration. We went to the what ball was that? The top one. I can't remember what that ball was called. But
you said it, I probably wouldn't even know.
Yeah, it was 3 balls. It was a military ball, then it was some other ball, and then it was I can't remember. But anyway, we went to the ball. Okay. And it was a great time. And we've been treated with very much respect from a lot of his side. Let me just put it that way. I'm open. I'm open to everybody. I'm not.
Yeah. You're not only Republican. You're not only Democrat. You're whoever wants to help what you're doing. Yeah, that's who you're like. I'm willing to work with whoever is willing to work with me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's how I roll. And I don't care if you're white, black, or some people have been on my page and said something like, you only work with white children. What? 80% of the kids I work with are African American. But that shouldn't even matter, because I wouldn't give a damn if the kid was white, black, brown, from Pluto, from Mars. If it's a child in need, I'm helping. So, and that's how I roll.
Yeah.
Exactly. Wow. Exactly how it should be.
Liberty. I think it's the Liberty ball. I think it was the Liberty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So let's pull up some couple more of these videos real quick. Get a quick reaction. And then I know C-Love had a couple questions for you, and then we can wrap up and see if, by the way, anyone watching on Instagram or YouTube, click the link. If you're on Instagram, click the link in the bio. It'll take you straight in. If you want to call in, ask him some questions. If you're on YouTube, you can click the link tagged, pinned in the comments, and you can join as well. While we're waiting on that, we're going to go ahead and let's go through. Oh, this one right here. What's your thoughts on this?
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Did you say that my daughter is rude?
Yeah, I did. She gave me the finger.
Well, I wouldn't have done that if he wasn't being a slow ass.
Are you serious, Amelia? Well, listen. Whether she gave you the finger or not, then maybe you should have gotten out of her way.
Yeah, I know. I'm old and I'm kind of slow.
So that means that you get to tell her she's rude?
Well, she's rude. She's rude.
But she's not rude. She's only 7.
Well, I thought she was being rude.
But were you in her way?
Probably.
So don't you think that maybe you don't own the store just because you're driving a cart? I think that you think all this is funny, and it's not funny, sir.
Well, I'm her elder, and she needs to show me a little respect.
Well, maybe you need to not think that you own the store because you're driving a cart.
What's your thoughts on that?
Well, generally I take the side of children in a lot of instances, but I do not accept bad behavior, especially to seniors, particularly that age. This is an old guy. It wasn't a racial thing or anything, because both of them are white. So, it was really no excuse for the mother to come to the defense of her child like that, in my opinion. If she threw the middle finger up, again, these children are learning bad behavior, and they're being pacified and coddled by parents who are allowing these kids to do this stuff. And the parents think this is cute. They think that that's cute. If anything, the child should be taught, listen, when somebody disrespects you, you come to your mother, you come to your dad, you come to authority, or you report this to a police. Our kids are not being told and taught that. You know what I mean? And these kids are just kind of taking things in their own hands and doing things as children that they should not be doing. You know what I mean? The guy's an old guy. If he was in the way, now if it was intentional, he was blocking her with the cart. See, again, we got to be careful with making assumptions from a clip. You know what I mean? So I'm very cautious of that. So, but I'll give you, just a little bit, but it depends on what was happening. Now if the guy was blocking her way and, trying to be a jerk, that's different. But the guy clearly said, hey, look, I'm old, I'm slow, and she was being rude. You know what I mean? So you got to give that some. respect, like, hey,
Yeah.
we
Well, I
don't
think the other thing too is the mom. It's not like the old man was being inappropriate. It's not like he did anything bad. He tried to touch her or hit her or anything like that. He just said, "You're being rude."
right,
And then the mom is even saying, "Wait, did you just say my child was rude?
right,
She's only 7."
right.
And it's like
They need to
she's
watch my
obviously-
videos. Whoever said that need to
Yeah.
watch my videos of the kids I deal with at 5 and 6.
And something you said earlier, you said about respect and respecting your elders and things of that nature. I find it in today's society that even with like the language like some children use, right? For example, back when we were growing up, we'd be at a basketball game or what have you. And if you're sitting next to an adult, if an adult is in the vicinity, kids might have cussed, at 12, 13 years old, 14 years old, but they weren't doing it in front of the adults.
Right.
So like if you cussed at a basketball game and an adult heard you, you'd be like, "Oh, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, sir. Excuse me. I didn't mean it." But nowadays it's like they just let them fly. You know what I mean? And so even respect for the other gender, right? As
Right.
males, we were taught, okay, you treat a female like this. You don't put your hand on a woman. We were always taught that. Nowadays, it kind of seems like the parents are teaching the kids, it doesn't really matter. If he or she puts their hands on you, you fight them and you do this. It's just that level of respect, even for our elders, for the genders. Those lines are getting blurred. Everybody's on the same level. It seems.
Personally, I put that on the parents. I'm sure, Prison Doctor, you probably put that on the parents as well, because the child's only acting on what they know.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, there's another video real quick that we wanted to check out too. I thought this was interesting. Want to see if this is your experience. It sounds like it is, but I just thought this was interesting. Thought maybe you could dive into this one a little more.
If a man and wife raise a child, they're less likely to end up in jail, but they have the same statistical chance as children raised by just their father. Girls with no fathers in the home have lower self-esteem. No father families more likely to be victims of abuse, especially with single mothers. Children with high BMI more often come from fatherless homes. Here's something: fathers have the fittest children. That was really interesting to me. The more opportunities a child has to interact with biological father, the less likely they are to commit a crime or have contact with the juvenile justice system. Okay, another way to say that is men and women who are incarcerated, the population of the prisons mostly encompass fatherless homes. Now, here's something that no one else has mentioned, which I think is cool, and I don't really say this eloquently. If a man and wife raise a child, they're less likely to end up in jail, but they have the same statistical chance as children raised by just their father.
Very, very interesting. I thought that was interesting because sometimes we say, single parent, and it is probably just as hard for men and women being a single dad or a single mom. But I thought that stat was interesting, that the children still end up similar in the end if they're just raised by their dad. And you have expressed how a lot of times you're having to help out the moms that have no help, from the dad, whether it's because the dad just left or maybe they don't want a relationship with the mom or whatever. We don't know the backstory, right? But has that been your experience too?
Let me just break something down real quick that just a little inaccurate. So first of all, let's understand that it's hard to give a equal balance of the success of a single father and a single mother with the success rate of raising a child, because the dynamics are not the same. Most of the time, you have more single mothers who are raising children than single fathers. So it's not an even balance. Most of the time, these children are awarded to the mother in court cases, in divorce cases, in custody cases. It's not the men who are winning in those kind of situations. It's the women. Thus, why you have in America more in the Black families is single women raising the children. It's not more single dads raising children than the single mothers. You understand? So That
You have a small pool to choose from with single dads and single mothers. It's a bigger pool.
Right.
Exactly. So way huge, bigger pool.
Yeah.
And that's just that. And anybody that doesn't know that or tries to argue with that, they're just idiots. They just don't know.
Yeah.
So let's go there. The second point I like to make to that is that when a father is present, right? Now let me say this. This is a critical word. Proper. When parents when a child is raised by proper parents, a proper father, right? The success rate is far greater, not even off the charts greater, right? Than a mother who is raising a child by herself. That does not mean that just replacing having a man in the home, understand, is going to make that success rate as high as a single mother who's doing the same job. No, I'm not saying that. Because sometimes it can be worse. If you just put a guy in, he's an idiot, or you know what I mean, or he's not doing what he's supposed to do, he can be more of a detriment by being in a child's life. So in some situations, right, it is better not to even have a man involved, right? Just let mom do the best she can do if she's a proper mother. And with the grace of God and the grace of community, right, and helping the community and family, that child may have a greater success rate, a greater chance at being successful, right, without the father. But you cannot deny or argue the fact that if that child is being raised by a proper father and a proper mother, that child has far greater odds of being more successful than just being raised by a mother.
Through the roof. And that's one thing that, sometimes people on the lives, a lot of times we end up talking about relationships. We end up talking about marriage and things like that. And sometimes people are like, man, why do you talk about marriage or relationships so much? Who cares? I mean, it's not all about marriage. It's not all about relationships. It makes a big difference because the children are affected by that. And that children are going to be the ones that shape and mold the society when you're old. They're going to be the ones running the society when we're 80, 90 years old. So, and it's going to affect their children and their children's children and so on and so forth. So when you don't have strong relationships, you don't have strong marriages, then you're dealing with the area of emphasis you're focused on is the families, is the children, how the children are being affected. And a lot of times, from my perspective, it looks like you're having to fix other people's mistakes. You're having to fix. Go ahead.
Man, great. Zach, man, love, you guys are really good. Let me go here. How can a child have a successful relationship or even understand what a successful, thriving relationship is when their parents are divorced or not together? You understand? And the child was produced out of wedlock. How can a child have a chance at having a successful relationship or any kind of, when society tells you that it's okay to have multiple sex partners, when you can't think of one damn celebrity who is really in a good monogamous relationship or married to one person, is only rocking with one person faithfully, when you as a person can't think of one celebrity, when you can't think of one rap artist who's maybe in a relationship but don't have 3 other baby mamas or baby daddies somewhere, when you can't think of one, when you can go to Sexy Red, you can go to damn near any artist, right? And it's very few. You might find it very few who ain't said they've been around the damn mulberry bush several times and had all kind of explicit relationships and hidden away kids that we ain't found out about yet. It's very hard to find that in some of our celebrities that's being plastered on social media as role models to our children. Now you can sit there and say, well, hell, I'm not a role model. Look, well, you were given it by, yes, you are.
You're being plastered as a role model. Yeah.
Whether you want to be considered that or not, you're considered a role model, a celebrity. You understand? People are giving your voice value, which is why Kamala Harris, not going against this party thing, but that's why Kamala Harris thought it was advantageous to her campaign to put a Megan Thee Stallion on there. You understand? To get a sexy, a dirty red on there. Why? Why? Because you thought it was advantageous to your party because of their celebrity status. It wasn't because they were just good people. You thought you was going to win some votes because you thought they were on there for the black people.
It wasn't because the message was so positive that you had to get someone to speak about this. Yeah.
at all. So
Right.
let's not play this game. And that's that's the thing that gets the prison doctor riled up. Is that it's too much damn game playing going on at the cost and expense of our children.
Right.
It's too much game playing. It's too much acting like we're stupid and don't know what's going on and just allowing things to go as is at the detriment of our children who's dying daily. Some little girl, while we're talking, is being raped right now. Some little girl is being carteled or taken across the damn border right now while we're talking. Some little boy is getting molested by some stepdad as we're talking right now. So I'm sick of the game playing and the idiocy like we don't know what the hell is going on in society. The problem is that we become weak. Men have become weak and they have lost their leadership role. We have become a godless society, a spiritless society, and that's why we're failing. And it's going to continue to happen until we stop playing games and being so goddamn entertained. Excuse my language.
Yeah. No, that's why we like having you on, man, because you're gonna be honest and you're passionate about it.
I love that.
Passionate.
Love that, man. I love it.
Yeah. See, love, you had a couple questions.
I can even see it in the way that you speak to the children when I'm watching your videos, right? The eye contact. You're telling the kids, look me in the eye. Lift your head up when I'm talking to you. And it seems like we don't really have that much anymore, right? I remember growing up, I was afraid of my dad. I was afraid of what he might say, what he might do if I mess up. And it seems like today that fear is being taken away. You should be afraid of your parents to some degree. I feel like you should have that healthy fear. And that unfortunately it seems like it's not there as much as it used to be.
Well, I think one of the main problems is that people automatically associate fear with bad. But even the Bible says fear of the Lord is the beginning of all wisdom. Yep. And then guess what you find out? That God loves you.
Yeah.
So it's a healthy fear. And I think that when I see those videos of you, honestly, when you get intense with those kids, that actually reminds me of my dad. My dad was the same way with us. And some people thought it was too hard. Some people thought this, but I even in the moment, I knew, okay, I deserve that. And I'm sure some of these children, when you deal with them, they know it deep down. They're like, okay, I know that I know why he's here. I know I really deserve him to get loud with me and things like that. But
have you experienced any situations where the parent may be too authoritative?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. No doubt about it. Yeah, there's been many cases that I've dealt with where the parent was being overbearing. I did a couple of cases, like I say, about the girl you was talking about, the phone situation, where there was evidence that the little girl had on her mother of being abusive and being a tyrant in the home, pretty much. But when the mother called me and the daughter said, well, I'm just going to show him blah, blah, blah. What you been, the mother took the phone and destroyed it. So that, destroyed the evidence that the little girl had.
Hold on. So you're saying there was a young lady. She was not getting along with the mom. There was some sort of conflict there. The mom said, I'm calling the prison doctor. She's like, okay, he'll find out the truth. And then when she called you, you were on the way. And she basically said, oh, crap, he is going to find the truth. And she destroyed a phone that had some sort of evidence that she was, treating her in a bad way or something like that. What was she doing? What happened?
Well, I didn't see the evidence because, again, she destroyed the phone. But what the mother was doing, she was cursing her out, calling her all kind of names, the B word, and calling her little H, calling her things that, a mother should not be saying. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. She videotaped the refrigerator, things that wasn't in there that the mother was saying, that she stole, just a lot of different lies. Wow. The girl said she was literally doing a video recording, of everything the mother was calling me for, showing that the mother was actually the one lying and just trying to, she didn't like. Now the girl wasn't perfect. Let me just put it that way. Right. She wasn't perfect. She needed some correction. But the way the mother was describing it to me, the mother absolutely needed an intervention herself, and she got it.
So it sounded.
So what does that intervention look like with the parent?
That's a good question.
That's a very good question. Yeah. Well, I have to be a little more respectful. Mm-hmm. But I don't bite my words when it comes to telling a parent, because you called me into your home to help you, right? So right there, that gives me a certain gateway to feel comfortable enough to say the things I need to say, because you called me for help. I didn't call you. I didn't seek you out. I didn't, you called me asking me to come into your home to help you fix a situation. So at the point that you did that, it gave me enough rights to say whatever I have to say to correct your misbehavior, and I do that very well. I never curse at a child. You don't see that nowhere. No parent. I don't use profanity. I talk very professionally, but I'm very blunt. And mom, look, you're wrong. Mom, you can't be doing this. Dad, you're wrong. You can't be doing this. You can't be calling your daughter bitch and then wonder why she's calling you one. Dad, you can't be ushering different women, in the house. Every week you got a different woman coming in the house, you're spending the night, and then you wonder why your son, it wants to hang out at 10 o'clock at night with different women. I mean, what I mean? It's things like that. So, I have no problem with giving a parent my opinion.
I saw one where there was a on your post, and I don't know what happened. Share whatever you can share, obviously, but there was one where this girl was locked in her room, and the mom was or whoever it was like, yeah, get her out of the room. And you're like, hey, open up. She finally opens up the door, and she says, she messed around with my boyfriend.
And she never opened the door.
Oh, she didn't?
Nope. She never opened the door.
Wow.
Yep, never opened the door.
So how did that end up?
Right. So pretty much like you said, I run into cases like that more often than not, where the mothers are doing things with, girls' boyfriends. And by the way, that video, it's not one of my highest. I think one of my videos is 36 million. I got 36 million views on one of my videos, right? 36 million. I kid you not, 36 million on one video, right? That video there, I think, is at, it's one of my highest ones. I think it's like at 3 million right now. It's like at 3 million views, I believe. Something like that. So it was one of my most watched videos as well. But yeah, the mother slept, with the girl's boyfriend. The mother didn't tell me that. And the funny part is that everybody's assuming, right, that the boyfriend was 17 or under, right? Because if you read the post on there, people just took and assumed. Now, I'm not going to.
They just assume she's the same. He's the same age as the girl was.
Right. See, that's the assumption, right? But if you read language, right? If you know correct English, right? You'll know the answer to that question. But I'm not going to reveal it, right? Because right now it's making people watch the damn thing. So let it run. Let it run wild with it. I don't care. Run wild with it. But
so how do you fix those problems? Like how did you end up fixing that one? What happened at the end of that? Was there some resolve, or was it just, hey, get out of my house now, you snooped too far? Has anyone ever was it a situation like that?
Never. That's never happened to me. Never. And I'm not joking. Not one time. That's never happened. You won't get nobody to come on your show with evidence to show that ever happened. That'd be my whole reputation. You hear me? So I don't come on here and lie and try to hide stuff. I stay on what's right and I tell the truth. That's why I speak with confidence, because you can't catch me up. That's never happened.
So were they able to resolve that situation? Because that seems like a tough situation to resolve.
Something like that is unresolvable. You know what I mean? You can come to terms, and try to heal from that. But that's a very, very that's some things people do in life is just not, necessarily
fixable.
Some people can heal. You can heal, but those scars are deep. And may not heal for a lifetime. You know what I mean? Some things people do and go through traumas, are lifetime scars that that parent may have to live with. That she lost her daughter because of something she did that really damaged her daughter. But what I did in that situation, I eventually spoke with the young girl, face to face. We had that conversation, and I spoke with the mother as well. And the mother wasn't too, quick to want to give that all the information and details out about that, because she felt like, she grown, and pretty much, and she can do what she want to do. That was kind of like the attitude a little bit. You know what I mean? It's a little bit more behind that story, but I was able to talk to the girl, and to this day, she does not forgive the mother. She's, it's a problem that I just don't think the mother will ever be able to fix. And quite frankly, I don't think it's a subject I could ever hear with that child, because that's a rough one.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a rough one. You know.
Going into your work a little bit more, have you ever had a child strike you?
Not once. Not one time. In 10 years I've been doing this, over 4,000 children, not one child has ever hit the prison doctor. And I get that question all the time too, right? They're like, I know what it, because some of these little kids be talking real tough. I'll never let the prison doctor do that to me. Oh, he come in my room, it's on. I'm gonna cap him. I'm gonna beat his ass. Come on, bro. Stop fronting, bro. You are not gonna do nothing. You're gonna be a kid, is what you're gonna be, bro. You ain't got nothing coming with the prison doctor. And I'm not saying that trying to be bold, because some of these kids carry pieces, got them in their room, and they will shoot you. Make no mistake. Some of these kids are stupid like that. You know what I mean? Where they literally would take your life. You know what I mean? So I'm not naive to that fact. You know what I mean? So I'm very careful before I go into a home. Believe me, we did our reconnaissance. We or whatever you call, you know, we know what we know before we go into that home. You feel me? And I'm always on guard. I'm very, very good at what I do. And I'm a great protector and self-defense person. You know what I mean? I know how to defend myself very good. I'm not, you know, that's just the truth. That's why I've never had any problems. And the other thing is I walk with God. I'm very, very confident that God got my back, because I'm on a mission, you know, and God got me on that mission. So God ain't gonna let that happen to his child. You know, if I was out doing something willy-nilly, it would be different. I'm walking in my purpose. So I know God got me covered.
So here's the last video we'll share, kind of on that topic. How do you handle a situation like this? It's an altercation that broke out between a coach or a teacher and a high school student. What do you do in a situation like that?
Let me tell you. That's beyond mentoring.
Hold on, let me get that off here. There we go.
Let me be very clear, right, to your audience. That's assault. He needs to be in jail for that. You understand? I don't need to hear what was said. What I saw was a teacher that was backing up. He was not in the kid's face, and the child approached the teacher, right? And that child struck that teacher multiple times, because these kids are out cold like that. They're out of their minds. What should have happened, and I hope it did, is that teacher pressed full charges on that. I don't know how old that boy is, but he had to be at least 16, 17, just by how he was looking. And I hope that the weight of the law came down on his behind, and he's sitting somewhere in prison or in jail. I'm not saying for life, because that didn't warrant for him to be in prison or jail for no damn 20 years of his life. I'm not saying that. But does it warrant for him to be in a facility somewhere where he can experience maybe what he did to that man, and understand that that's something you don't do, and you ain't tough, you ain't laying like that? Because that came from that boy being cocky. From what I saw, the teacher didn't strike him. Teachers talk and give authority. That's what teachers do. If you told him to sit down and get out my classroom, it sounds like the boy says, I'm not going nowhere. So that comes from that boy trying to prove something and having an issue with authority. So when you get children like that, that's beyond the prison doctor just coming into his house to talk to him. You understand? Because if that boy would have tried to do that to me, I'd be in jail right now. You understand? So what needs to happen is that boy needs to feel the weight of the law, and he should be sitting in jail or prison right now for a few years. Just a little sit down. And maybe those boys in there, some of them brothers in there, will show him that he ain't really as tough as he just tried to make himself look on that video.
Yeah.
Now, see, Love, I know you had a question about something about teachers, how much authority they should have or something like that, right?
Yeah, so there was a point in history, and it's still allowed in some spots, but not as common, not nearly as common as it used to be, where corporal punishment was a thing. the teacher was able to paddle the child. Do you believe that this is something that we should go back to, or do you think that that should come back? And I'm asking as a teacher.
Sure. It depends. It depends. But see, to take it back there, see, too much damage has been done in the psyche of children, and to go back to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Children now have a different bravado, a different cockiness to them. Children have more access to guns and carrying guns in schools. You know what I mean? Children are more revengeful. You know what I mean? Pride has taken over in a lot of our children's psyche. So in our day, you know, we weren't so prideful like that. You know, we submitted to authority. You know, we didn't have a problem with submitting to authority. So it was a different dynamic mentally back then. You know what I mean? And sometimes when you turn the clock so fast forward, you can't go back. You know what I mean? Some things are just lost in time. Right. And you got to accept that. You know, so ideally, going back to that time where kids was disciplined by teachers and understand that, look, you know, you ain't gonna come in here acting out. You know, ideally, I could see that possibly coming in. You know, wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. But in today's times, because the psyche of children is so hype and they're so, you know, revengeful and they're so strapped and they're so gang related and prideful. You know, you can paddle a kid today, you know, and you walk out to your car after the class, you know, he live out there with a gun and want to shoot you. You know, matter of fact, you're gonna want to put it on TikTok and Instagram. You know what I mean? Look what I did to the you know, so that's the reality.
I think part of it too is, like you said, there was a little bit back then of when you got a spanking or you got punished, there was a little bit in the back of your head that felt like, you know, I kind of deserve this.
Yeah.
And I think that because a lot of, you know, the foundation has been, you know, just destroyed in the home. The moral foundation has been destroyed in the home. Now there's not well, deep down, they love me. They think this person just attacked me. I'm going to get revenge. I don't see any benefit to what I just went through. So that's a good point. That's a very good point. So those things would have to change before even trying to bring that back, is what you're saying.
Yeah. There's steps to everything. You know, you can't just rewind the clock and go back in time and make things like it used to be. Sometimes you just have to let things be as they are and work with what you got. The reality is that our kids now are more sought of towards teachers and adults and their own parents. So what makes you think that a child is going to sit there and allow some strange teacher to take a paddle, you know, and paddle him, you know, and he's 14, 15 years old? Hell, I deal with kids, as y'all guys know, that's 9 years old who's putting their grandmas in chokeholds. You know what I mean? So we just you can't do that. And that's the sad part of it, is that we've let this culture in America just fall by the wayside. Now, listen, if you take that same kid that you're talking about, C-Love, and put him in Africa, you take him to Jamaica, you take him some of those other countries over there, and then we're talking a different story. You understand? That you're a whole different ball game. But because we're here in this country and these laws have classified and made that behavior more acceptable, you can't turn back the hands of time in this country with these children. You understand? Yeah. You have to strip them naked mentally. You have to break them down and get all that pride and all that stuff out of their brains to make them think that they're tough and bad and nobody can touch them, and the law, you know, they already know the police can't do nothing. They say that. They tell you, police can't touch me.
Really?
Therapy can't touch me.
They will tell you that.
Parents can't touch me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you hear me?
Yeah.
If the kids are telling the parents that you can't put your hands on me, and if you do, I'll get you arrested and call CPS, how the hell are we gonna go back to a time where a teacher can paddle a child?
You need to call up the president and say, hey, this is a law that needs to change. But that's crazy. I didn't know that.
But that goes back to what you said at the beginning of the live, though, about how we need to take it back to the spiritual. Because if you indoctrinate a child with those spiritual teachings, that pride goes away because you're more humble, right? You're more accepting to authority because you're accepting of God, right? So by following God, you're following your parents' instructions. And if you follow your parents' instructions, now you're following the teacher. Now they have authority. The police have authority. But like you said today, I've seen it with my own 2 eyes as well. I've seen kids disrespect police, teachers, their parents. It don't matter. They think how they think. They got too much pride. And if they're going to disrespect you, they're going to disrespect you. Don't matter what type of authority you're supposed to have over them.
Well said, C-Love. Well said. You the reason why none of this is getting fixed, man, is because, and it's never going to get fixed. You know, all I'm doing is putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. That's all I'm really doing. I'm putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound. None of this stuff is ever really going to get fixed, man, until we turn back to some kind of spiritual connection. The reason why I always say spiritual connection, I don't just identify and say Christianity or Islam and all that, because it's too divisive. It's too divisive for my audience in the time that I have on earth in order to help the kids that I'm trying to reach. So I'm not going to call any more division with this stuff. Right. I'm just going to get back to the basics of saying spirituality. You understand? Because my personal beliefs, one way or another, my political views, my spiritual views, is irrelevant to the children that I'm trying.
I know, because I see how many people follow you and appreciate what you're doing. And then when you posted, you were just at I think you went to both events at one time, right? During the campaigns, because you wanted to hear what both people said. And you went to a Trump, you showed a picture, you were at a Trump one, you're like, hey, let's hear what he has to say about the children and see if there's anything we can do. And then I looked at the comments. I'm unfollowing. I don't like you anymore, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I'm just listening to hear what he has to say because maybe he's got something to say. And then the other side, hey, I'm going to see what she's got to say. Maybe she's got something good to say to help out. And people literally, so I can understand where you're coming from there. Yeah. Because someone may say something about that. Let me ask you this, because this is a real question. Sure. Me and C Love have been talking about this for years. C Love said, he said, hey, we'll watch your videos. And C Love said, man, I know behind the scenes he's spanking those kids. Is that true? Is there any truth to that?
Man, I'm kicking it. No. Y'all like, see that? Now that's $1 million question. See, that'll get you right there on national television. That's a good question.
Okay.
No, I'm gonna be honest with you. No, I don't do that. I'll give y'all some juice. I'll give y'all a little bit of juice here.
All right.
I've had to defend myself. Yes, I've had to defend myself. Child has never struck me, but if you trying to come at me or you trying to attack me, I'm going to defend myself, and you're going to lose. I've had to do that before. Okay, not often. That's like a once every 2-year thing in my 10-year career. It may have happened to me 3 times in my whole career, where a child may have tried to come at me or something. You know, never hit me though. Never. You know, I never. No one ever. But I've had a couple of kids.
No hits landed. No hits landed.
No hits landed. No,
so what's the relationship like with those children when after those few cases where that happens? Is it a situation where they kind of gain a little bit more respect for you once they see that oh, okay, this guy's not playing around?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's why you can't go in there punk, and you can't go in there afraid. You can't go in these kids. I go in some very dangerous places, guys. You hear me? At night. You know what I mean? If people are like, man, you got to be careful. Yeah, I know that. I get that. I'm not going in here blindly. I'm not going, like I don't have, but just like ops, military. If you've been in the military, special ops, you're going into, going to fight the Taliban, you're going into some dangerous situations and you're going under the cover of darkness. And sometimes you don't know what the hell you're walking into. But if you properly prepared for anything, you ain't got to worry about anything happening, right? So I always go properly prepared, expecting the worst. You understand? That's why nothing ever happens to me. But with the kids, it's always a great appreciation. Once the kid sees, hey, I'm dealing with a man. I ain't dealing with no punk. This guy ain't no joke. Kids, they respect that. You know what I'm saying? Most kids respect that. You know what I mean? They wind up submitting and they see that I'm really a good guy that really loves them and care about them, because I do. I don't, I'm not their enemy, man. I'm not going in here trying to be something that these kids hate. You know what I mean? Initially, you got to understand, bro, that you're dealing with a man. You ain't going to talk to me crazy. You ain't going to try to fight me. You ain't going to do none of that, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah. You just not. I'm not allowing it.
The word submission keeps coming up. And I think it's really interesting because, when we talk about relationships and marriage, obviously the word submission comes up there too, in the Bible and everything. But the interesting thing that you guys said about God being the foundation to all this, and when he's taken out, all the problems start coming up, right? When we look at God's word, everybody has to submit to God, and then they have to submit to other people too. So in God's word, it says we have to submit to authority figures. It says wives submit to husbands. It says children submit to parents. It says employees submit to your, your boss, unless any of these people tell you to do something against God.
Absolutely.
But everybody has to learn to submit. So when you remove God, now a lot of these children, when God's not in the picture, they don't know how to submit to anybody. And that's part of the problem.
Well said, Zach. Well said. Yeah, there's no, submission. People see submission sometimes as a bad word. It's actually a beautiful thing. The word submission is actually a beautiful thing. You know what I mean? But when you strip, away God, like we were talking about, the foundation, then it's a rat race. It's I'm going to do me. I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm not listening to you. I have nobody. You're not going to tell me what to do. I'm going to do what I want to do. It's just chaos. And that's a fact. If you don't have any structure, if you don't have something that's ahead, that's leading you and guiding you, something or someone that you turn to, right? And you think that you have all the answers, and you think that you're just this free, carefree person that can do whatever you want to do, and nobody can't tell you nothing. If that's the type of thinking person you are as an adult or a child, then you're in for a rude awakening.
Very rude. Very rude.
Very rude. Because the world doesn't operate that way.
The world does not operate like that. It does not. Trust me, it does not. I served 20 years in prison because I wanted to do what I wanted to do and have a car that wasn't mine, knew it wasn't mine, but I thought I could just take it, and it don't work like that.
That's real. That's real.
Now to wrap this up, I want to make sure we wrap up with kind of a little bit of a more of a lighthearted video, but I think it relates a little bit to what you do. And I'm curious if you see this style of parenting out there today.
Wait. I am so sorry that I said that it was time to go. How about we start a timer?
No!
Oh, gentle hands. I know you're having so many big feelings right now. Mommy just wants to validate them. Gentle hands. Hands are for gentle. I am not going to cause you any more anxiety than you already have. I can see you're having a hard time not hitting. Do you need my help to stop?
No!
Can you say sorry to Mommy?
No!
Oh, that's right. Sorry is a scary word. Do I have your consent to comfort you? Are you ready to get up right now?
No!
Oh, no. Okay, I'll wait for you to be ready.
Parenting's a challenge, isn't it?
How about we pause for a moment to check in with our feelings?
You are so wrong for that, Zach. I want that video. Promise me you're going to send me that video.
I'll send it to you. Yeah, I'll send it.
I need that video. I'm posting that video tomorrow. I want that video. I'm posting that video.
Do you come across millennial parents ever?
Of course I do.
Parents in our generation.
That's
so is that common?
Identical to that.
Really?
Oh my God! Yes, it's pathetic. Yes.
So are there any parents that are like, hey, they kind of pull you aside and they're like, this is too hard. I didn't think you were going to do this.
Yeah, not like that, but yeah, I've had parents, wow. Just think that, almost what your video. The reason why I want that video is because a lot of my audience is going to say, I get it, because some people actually think that way. They think that a child can just do that kind of stuff in public, lay on the floor, and you're talking about gentle parenting and don't yell at the kid, don't touch the child, just marinate with him in his feelings as he's throwing all the food across the aisle and yelling at everybody and slapping you. Just meet him at his feelings and just okay, come on, okay. Mm-hmm. It's the most insane thing, and again, that's by design. Yeah, that's by the natural person the natural parenting skills of a parent, woman or male, knows better than that.
They know better than that.
But they want to push that narrative that that's how you deal with that kind of stuff to make it okay. And it's by design. I'm telling you, it's by design.
It is.
Your inner spirit knows that that's not how you parent a child like that.
Right. Well, go ahead.
I was going to say the gentle parent is how you end up with 10-year-olds trying to transition. He has a choice. Like children have this type of decision-making skills, and they're able to think ahead, and makes no sense.
None.
And the crazy thing is, you said about natural parenting, like your natural instincts tell you this isn't right. It's crazy because the strategy that they've used is, okay, this person's got a degree, and they've got a degree in parenting, and they've read all the books about parenting, and they specialize in parenting, and they're going to tell you, the parent, how to parent. But guess what? They don't have any children. They don't have any of their own. Or if they do, they've got a 5-year-old. They've got a 4-year-old. How do we know that their results are actually going to play out over time? The people that I want to listen to are the people who have children that are grown and are a success. So when you have people saying, hey, gentle parenting, it's the new style, it's more trustworthy than the traditional form of parenting, I'm going to say, where's your proof? Because traditional parenting has been going on for thousands of years. And it looks like, we literally went from flying to landing on the moon within, a couple decades. We went from, having to run mail across the world to being able to FaceTime and do what we're doing now. It seems like we did a pretty good job with traditional parenting as a society. So why are we questioning some of that?
It is the most weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life is this culture today and how we parent, our parenting styles. Excuse me a second. I do have to do something real quick before we go, because I know we're still on. My son is about to go to bed.
Yeah, go ahead.
Son! Oh, he's already asleep? Okay, I got to go up and give my son a kiss goodnight. He's already.
Yeah, well, this is the perfect time to wrap up.
It is the weirdest thing, guys, that I've ever seen in my life. It is the way parents are parenting, and again, this stuff is being pushed, man. Again, we got to understand we're dealing with a spiritual battle. This stuff ain't so much flesh and we're in a spiritual warfare, guys, and I don't care who believes that, who want to see the prison doctors. This talk about God. Listen, then don't follow me. Get off my page. But I'm telling you, we're in a spiritual battle, guys. It is good versus evil, man. And right now, evil is kicking our butt down here on earth.
Yeah, well, not in the houses you're going to. So keep up the good work. For anyone that wants to follow you, where do they follow you on Instagram and YouTube or any other social media platforms?
Thank you for that, Zach. So, guys, first of all, know that TikTok, I've been hacked. So my page that's at like 700,000 or 800 and something thousand, that's not the Prison Doctor page, right, on TikTok. So if you're going on TikTok, make sure you're pushing up official Prison DR. If it doesn't say official Prison DR, it's not my page. On that page, I have 21 or 22,000 followers. The one I had, it was at 700,000. It was hacked. Somebody got it. I don't care about it. I just hate that so many people are thinking they're following my page and my content, and they're not. Also, Facebook, some clown hacked my damn Facebook page. So we started a new Facebook page. So make sure, guys, that you're not seeing numbers and letters in the bio. That's not my page. Prison Doctor don't do numbers and bios in my bio, numbers and letters and things like that. So if you're following the one that has over 700,000 followers on TikTok, please delete it, report it. It could be some kind of predator trying to gain access to children or get money. So please report them and don't follow them. Mine is official Prison DR. Instagram is the Prison DR. My Instagram is the Prison DR. I think it's like 514,000 followers on there. So my website is www.theprisonprisondr.org. Theprisondr.org is my website. My phone number, 1-800-369-8932. Give me a call if you are struggling with your child, no matter where you are on the planet.
The planet.
Okay.
There we go.
Listen, I've done house calls in Aruba. I think that makes me now international. I think I can say that now. So they won't be in Africa and Ghana and also in Canada. I would love to go, but that one ain't gonna be free.
I doubt in some of those places, maybe Canada they're dealing with, but I doubt in some of those places they've gone as crazy as we've gotten here. I think they're still sticking to some of the basics.
Believe it.
I just want to say too, man, I appreciate you coming on, man. I appreciate the work that you do, especially with the youth, because I got a heart for the youth too. So I really appreciate it. And when I see what you're doing, it's much needed. They say children is our future. So we have somebody like you going into the homes of our children. Hopefully that's creating a brighter future.
Thank you, C-Love. You are a great interviewer, you and Zach. I'm very honored to be on your show. You guys have substance and you have the it factor. And I just pray that you guys blow up bigger, and anything the Prison Doctor organization can do to help that, you have it.
We appreciate it. Thank you.